Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mac and Talk for Tuesday, August 27th, 2024. Mac and Talk is a Q&A conference call for anyone with Mac questions, whether you are just getting started and have a Mac but need some help learning VoiceOver, or maybe you have had a Mac for a while but you have questions about an app or feature. Or you could just be joining us because you're curious and don't know about the Mac and want to know if it's a good device for you. For whatever reason, I am glad that you are joining us this evening. I'd like to extend a special welcome to students who are part of the upcoming Mac training course that begins in 2 weeks, and to those who are interested in also taking the training at some later point. Before we actually get into the fun of the call, I will let you know about iBug Today and some of the things we have going on. The best way to know about our events and who we are, what we're up to, all that good stuff, is to visit our website, ibugtoday.org. And there you can register to become a member. Registration is free. Participation in all of our events is free. We are a nonprofit organization, so donations, of course, are always greatly appreciated. But you can register on the site. There's also a link for upcoming events. I believe next month's events will be posted very soon. Also on the website, you will find links to Mac and Talk, and that will give you my contact info. It will have some of the recent recordings of these Mac and Talk calls. And on the website, you'll find links to other training programs and previous podcasts. We are on social media. Facebook, we have a Facebook group, facebook.com/groups, I think it's /groups/iBugToday. It's been a while since I've done these announcements. And on our Facebook and all of our social media, announcements of upcoming events are posted. The group is also a great way for people to exchange information in between calls. And for Mac-specific questions, I would direct you to the Mac and Talk discussion list, and you'll find that info on our website, as I said. We're also on X and Instagram at iBugToday. I know that our announcements are posted to X, as well as lots of helpful how-tos, guides, Mac rumors, deals, more, all that stuff. And if you like listening to podcasts, there are a few ways in addition to our website. We have a YouTube channel. If you just go to youtube.com and type in iBug Today in the search, you'll find our channel. We have lots of playlists. For example, there is a playlist with lessons from a previous Mac course. And our other training events are organized into playlists as well. If you like to make use of that smart speaker or SIRI or any podcast app, you can just say, play iBug Buzz, play iBug Mac and Talk, iBug Cafe, and iBug Apple Workshop. And those are the names of some events that are coming up in the next week or so. Actually, on Thursday, we have It's iBug's Life from 7 to 9 p.m. And it's led by our facilitator, George Batiste, and he has invited Daryl Oxner to speak about financial investing. Then a highlight on Friday for everyone is always iBug Night at the Virtual Movies. And I looked at the title of the movie. It's something. I do not remember the title, but come at 7:15 for the pre-movie social, where there's trivia, just fun, jokes, relaxing stuff. Then the movie at 8, followed by a discussion. Our Apple workshop is canceled for this Saturday, but I'm sure we will be back next month. On Monday and every Monday night, we have iBug Buzz. Now, all the times I've been mentioning are central, And since you were able to get into Mac and Talk tonight, you can join any of the other events. They're all on the same Zoom link ID and passcode. And iBug Buzz takes place every Monday from 7 to 9. It is a great opportunity to ask iOS and iPhone questions. It's ran in a similar format to Macintalk. And with all those announcements out of the way, let's now go around and introduce ourselves. Um, just say who you are and where you're calling from, and if this is your first time joining us. I'm Chanelle in Houston.
This is John from BC, Canada.
Hi, John. Welcome back.
And quick thing, oh, sorry, I just wanted to say the movie is Eye in the Sky.
Oh, that's right. I knew it had I in it. Thank you. Okay, and hi, Herbie.
This
Who
is
else?
Gail.
Hi,
Gail.
it's Robert here in Maple Ridge.
Welcome, Robert. Glad to have you. And welcome, Gail.
And Brian
And
from Ontario.
Welcome, Brian.
Ivy from Montreal.
Hi, Ivy. Welcome.
Ashley from North Carolina, and this is my first time.
Hi, Ashley. Welcome. And how did you hear about us? Are you an iBug member? Have you been to some of our events before?
No, I haven't. I was recommended it by someone who attended one of your previous math classes.
Awesome. Welcome. We're glad to have you. Sorry, just had to mute for a minute and cough. All right. Who else?
Elaine, Texas,
oops.
and I am here for the first time.
Welcome, Elaine. And how did you hear about us?
Actually, from a previous member who said she's on her way in here, running late.
Oh, okay.
That's Donna, and so she's the one who told me about it, and then I drugged Patrick in.
All right. Awesome. Glad to have you. And I think I was hearing, was it Dan? Or
Yes, I'm Dan. I'm in Forest Park, Illinois, and this is my first time to this event, but I've been to other iBug events on Zoom and
Okay.
in Clubhouse.
Okay, great. Well, we're glad you're here.
Thanks.
Hello, this is Tim. I'm a first-time person to the Macintalk group. I've attended a few other iBug events and so forth. I live in, well, I'm going to be moving, but I will be living in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And I do know where Dan lives because I used to live in Oak Park, Illinois.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm very experienced, knowledgeable using the Mac. However, most of my knowledge and experience is using it visually. And unfortunately, my eyesight has deteriorated to the point where even the magnification and dark mode, so forth, no longer helps. So I have to learn VoiceOver, and it's not been terribly easy. So that's why I'm trying to find out about this and trying to get into the Mac training class.
Well, we're glad you're here, and we are happy to help you on your learning journey in whatever way. I know it can be a big transition, and good job for taking it on.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yep.
Hey everybody, this is Patrick, and I'm Elaine's husband, and I'm doing this for the first time.
Welcome, Patrick. All right. Glad to have you both here.
This is Charlene from Utah.
Hi, Charlene. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Was someone about to talk? Who would like to get started asking a question?
It's Ivy.
Yes, hi, Ivy.
I would like to isolate the link of your Zoom separately from your email and save it somewhere where I can click on it and get to the Zoom when I need it.
Okay.
What's the best way of doing it on my Mac?
All right. So it sounds like Ivy wants to be able to copy a link from an email and then save it. Does anyone want to talk about the best way to do that?
It's Ivy.
Yeah.
I tried to put it on notes, but if you click on notes, it doesn't open the Zoom.
Right. Okay. Go ahead, Herbie.
Okay, so this is an interesting one. Copying the link is the easy part. But I think I know what you did wrong with notes too. Copying, you can just bring up the context menu with VO Shift M, otherwise known as the shortcuts menu, on the link. And there's an option to copy, and then you can paste it in any kind of text file. And then what you do is you simply open that text file, and with the link in there, do a Command A for select all, then a Command C to copy, and then you would go into Safari. You would paste it, and that would open Zoom automatically. There are ways of saving files as actual URLs. That's a little bit more involved than what I get into, but that's the way I would do it if I was going to save a link.
All right. Very good. Thank you. And hopefully that will help.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Who would like to ask the next question?
I would.
Yes, and you are?
Dan.
Dan, go ahead,
Yes.
Dan.
I'll try to make this simple. I just got a MacBook Air. Well, my husband bought it used so he can do some development, and it's a MacBook Air from 2018. And I'm trying to set up my voiceover preferences. I can open the voiceover utility with VO F8, and it's a little tricky because I have to press FN plus the function key, I think. I don't know if there's a way of changing that, so I don't have to use so many fingers. But when I can navigate items in the table, but I can't seem to select one. Like I interact with the table with voiceover shift down arrow, and then I get stuck. Now, I've never used a Mac before. This is new. I'm a Windows user, but I want to learn the Mac because I do accessibility testing.
Uh-huh.
And I contacted Apple, and they couldn't get the screen share to work for some strange reason, so they couldn't help me.
All right. So first of all, there is a way to not have to press the function keys. Does anybody want to help Dan? All right. Well, so the first thing I would recommend is going to System Settings, and you can actually do that very easily by going to your dock. So VOD, the VO is Control and Option or Caps Lock, and by default, VoiceOver will use both, either or, unless you've changed it.
Nope.
Then you type SY for System Settings. Unfortunately, unless it's the first item on there, typing S by itself doesn't work because on the Mac you have to spell things out. In Windows you can type S, 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 however many times until you get to the correct. So you type SY. Then you do VO Shift M. That is the shortcut menu or context menu. And what that's going to do is bring up the complete list of system settings categories. So you press K for keyboard, then you press enter. And when you get into keyboard, there's going to be a bit of kind of finagling, but you will find the scroll area and you will interact. And then you're going to go to the thing that says shortcuts. I'm just double checking. Yeah, you're going to go to shortcuts. And then in that shortcuts area, there is a table. One of the things in the table is function keys. Now, one nice thing about tables is just going to the item in the table on its own is enough to make that category active, at least in the voiceover utility. So if you in the voiceover utility want to go to speech, for instance, you would just find that in the table. You wouldn't even have to press VO space on it. And then you would, you can interact in the table if you want, but in the table, in many tables, you can just get away with pressing the down arrow key without interacting, arrow to what you want, and then VO right once you've selected what you want in the table just by arrowing to it. VO right, and you're on your merry way. So hopefully that helps a little bit.
Yeah, I'm having trouble interacting. I mean, I think Apple said, if I didn't misunderstand this, you have to press the voiceover shift down arrow
That's correct.
for interact, and that doesn't seem to be working. I get that sound like I get on my iPhone, like end of container sound.
Okay.
Apple couldn't figure out why.
Huh. Yeah, make sure you're in an interactable area. I mean, a table is an interactable area. You don't
Right.
always have to interact, but you just, and make sure are you using caps lock or are you using control and option?
Caps lock. I don't have enough fingers for
Yeah, I know what you
control
mean.
option down.
Okay.
Shift down arrow.
Okay. Yeah, so it's caps lock shift down arrow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I would also sometimes you might just try turning voiceover off and back on.
Is there an easy way to do that?
Command F5 is your
Oh,
friend. Or what?
Oh, that's right. I should have remembered that.
Yeah, all right. So hopefully that helps a little bit.
I hope so. I wish I would have signed up for your course, but we're moving and I wouldn't have time. I wish I could find someone to spend about 20 minutes with at some point just to go over some things. And I think once I get started, I could probably, you know, continue on my own. I mean, I know the computer's working. I have a focus braille display connected to it. I'm getting braille output. So things are working.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good. You just need to I lost my train of thought. I thought I heard Herbie, but he could have been on commenting on something else. So, yeah, it's great when you can just connect a braille display and get output. So definitely let us know. Just keep coming back, and you're also welcome to join the Mac and Talk discussion list and post your question there. All
Okay.
right. Thank you. Who would like to ask the next question?
This is John from Canada.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is more of a comment than a question. So I don't want to complicate things for him, but what I do if I don't feel like interacting with the keyboard commands, like I'll turn on the track commander. So I'll do VO and then I'll rotate on the trackpad because he has a MacBook Air, and then it would turn on the trackpad commander, and then I'd use the two-finger flick right to interact and the two-finger flick left to stop interacting. Because then those times when I don't feel like using all the keys on the keyboard.
Yeah, that's another great way to interact. I kind of do something similar. I have an external keyboard with a numpad, and so I use my numpad commander. But yes, the trackpad is right there, part of the MacBook Air, MacBook Pro. You turn it on, like you said, and you can two-finger flick right and two-finger flick left, and that's a great way to interact. Thank you. Who else would like to ask a question?
Audio now muted. Hi, Chanelle. This is Elaine. And
yes, Elaine.
I've seen here lately that there is going to be an update to the Mac. And my question is, do you know whether that will affect the training itself, or should I stop the automatic update?
I would say go ahead and update. Mac does change sometimes slightly but it's not enough to really alter the functionality or alter how we use VoiceOver. So go ahead and continue getting updates. I have not heard of any problems with people who are beta testing the latest updates, and they are usually fairly stable when they come out. There are typically not too many things to get used to with VoiceOver. A few changes here and there, like in Ventura, they did change how system settings. It used to be called system preferences. They changed it to system settings, and there's a bit of a difference in how those things are displayed, but it was not a big deal for using VoiceOver. So
Okay,
hopefully
thanks.
that helps. Yeah. All right. Who would like to ask another question?
Audio now unmuted. This is Donna from North Carolina.
Hi, Donna.
Hi. I have a question about, is it possible to print or to type an envelope and then print it on text edit, or am I going to need to go to Pages and find that type of format? When I type a letter, I would love to be able to also type an envelope like I do with Microsoft Word.
Ooh. I don't really have experience with that. I unfortunately think you're best. Does anyone else have any answers?
This is Herbie.
Yeah, Herbie, go ahead.
I mean, have you looked at the different templates? Because there's a lot of them out there.
And text edit?
In text edit, no. Actually, I'm sorry. I should have meant that type of thing. So text edit is the equivalent of Notepad. So, like,
Well, it's better
not
than
quite.
Notepad.
Okay, it's better than Notepad, but like Windows, for instance, you're not going to find an option to type in an envelope in in Notepad in Windows either. But that's where. So if I was going to do that on the Mac, I would look to see if there was a template for that on Pages, not in Text Edit.
Okay, there are a lot of templates on text on Pages, so I was
There
hoping.
are, yes.
I'll look a little more.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know I don't send off physical envelopes that much, but oh yeah, sorry, Herbie.
No, I was just going to say, but you have to remember, yes, Text Edit it is more advanced than Windows by far, definitely, but it is still designed to be a basic text editor.
Well, it's like WordPad, so
Yeah.
it is a word processor. It's because it does have even word, spell check, and
Yes.
I don't call it a text editor. I call it a word processor.
Okay, fine.
Remember from my lessons, you're the TA, you should know.
No, I know it's more than just a text, and that you call. Okay, fine. But my point is, it's not. I don't think it was ever designed to be like, say, Microsoft Word replacement or anything like that.
Right.
So there's some things that it was probably never meant to do, and that's that's just the point I'm trying to make, and that's why they also have Pages for people that want or need more advanced type things. So
definitely.
That's just the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Herbie and I are married, and we team teach the Mac class. So, for those of you who are new, who would like to ask another question? All right. Well, one thing I was reminded about is the fact that in Safari we have a feature called Reader. And why is this useful? How is this useful? Well, So Herbie does a cooking corner on ACB Community, and people were talking about how to get recipes from websites that have a lot of ads and things. And so somebody was talking about how with JAWS and Windows, you could paste it into a Word file, and that's nice. But we have something that we can do that strips out a ton of all the ads and extraneous links, and that is called Reader. I am going to share my voiceover.
Sound unmuted.
And, well, you're hearing my voiceover. I'm not actually sharing my screen. Let's see here.
85%. 55%. 50%. 45%.
There, I've turned the rate down a little bit. I'm going to go to Safari, and to do that, I will go to my dock with VOD.
Dock.
SA
Safari,
for
open
Safari.
meet attention to Safari, personal, post attendee, Zoom, window.
And it has the Zoom thingy up from earlier. I'm going to press Command L to go to my address bar, just like you can do Control L on Windows.
Smart search field search.
And Herbie told me that 9to5Mac has, some interesting articles. Maybe you browse a particular news website, or you even search for something on Google, but you just want to get right to the meat of the article once you find a search result that looks good. So whatever the case may be, let's just check out this 9to5Mac site.
to5mac.com.
Oh, and since I was there recently, Safari auto-filled the rest of the address. I'll press Enter or Return to open that up.
HTTP 925Mac, Apple.
Now let's go ahead and find something. So if you want to, I'm just going to give you a real basic, if you want to jump to headings, you can do Command VOH, or so VO Command H.
Heading level 2 link. Here's everything to expect at next month's Apple event.
Oh, okay. And what if we wanted to read that? We could have also done VO Command L because that's a link, but there might have been some other links. So if I press VO space to activate that link.
Apple event coming soon. Link. Skip to main content.
All right. And let's just start. I'm going to move forward through the page. If you use VO right arrow, that takes you from item to item. And
Banner.
So we can
Visited
try to
link.
move.
Switch site. Toggle social menu. Toggle dark mode. Toggle search form. Navigation. List 10 items.
And see, there's a ton of stuff. So you're thinking, oh, this would take forever to navigate. Even if we do VO Command H or one of the other equivalent commands to go to, there are a million ways to go to headings. Actually, I use my numpad commander and I press 05 to go to the next heading. But regardless of how you do that, there's a ton to go through. So to enable Reader, all you have to do is press Command Shift R. Command Shift R for Reader.
Apple event.
Now, if we go to the top of the page, which we can do with VO Home or VO FN left arrow.
Toolbar.
Oh, well, actually, it took me more than to the top of the
Vertical
page, but that's
splitter,
okay.
Apple event coming soon.
We will interact here in the content because, yeah, we just need to. So interact is a VO shift down arrow or 2-finger flick right on the trackpad if that is enabled.
In Apple event coming soon. iPhone 16.
And now if we VO right.
Heading level 1. Here's everything to expect at next month's Apple event. Link. Chance Miller. Apple It's Glow Time event logo. Image.
And
Apple has
see, we
confirmed that
just
it will hold its visited link. Annual special event
right
on Monday.
there to the text of the
flagship
article.
announcement.
There's no other stuff, nothing else getting in the way. And so that is how you enable and use Reader. Herbie also pointed out to me it is similar. If you just do Command R, that only refreshes the page, but Command Shift R is how you do Reader. You can also find it, though, in the View menu. If we do VOM,
Menu bar. Apple.
VI for View,
View.
down arrow.
View menu. Check mark. Always show toolbar. Customize. Always show tab. Show favorite. Show status. Show sidebar. Show bookmarks. Show reading list side. Show shared with you. Command Control S.
It was starting to say show reading list sidebar. We don't want that. So if we just
Hide reader,
continue to
Command
down
Shift R.
arrow. Oh, now it's saying
Show hide reader. Command Shift R.
hide reader. That's because it's already showing. I can now press return.
The flagship announced toggle search form. Visited
And
link.
we
Switch
have,
site.
if I'm
Collapsed
pressing
button.
VO right,
Toggle search navigation.
we just have our regular website back. So that is Reader View. Very useful. Yeah, I wish I'd remembered that the other day when I was trying to paste the text of an article into an email to share with someone. And I couldn't quite get it, so I pasted it into Word, and then I copied that, and yeah, anyway, if I would have done the reader thing, it would have been a heck of a lot easier.
Quit Safari. Save as.
No,
Text.
I don't want to
Host
save
attendee.
anything.
Zoom.
There
Host
we go.
attendee. Vertical. Loop back.
And let's stop
Loop
my
back.
audio.
On.
All right, so did that generate, does anyone have any questions about this topic, or would you like to introduce the next? I think I stopped the audio. Yeah, I did. Okay.
Command-Shift-R is to bring up the reader?
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I didn't know that.
You're welcome.
I just have a quick question about the reader. When it starts reading, are you able to stop it with control? And then also if you want to select, you're still just using the shift. Are you still able to?
Yeah, so I was using VO right to, like, it wasn't actually reading it to me. I was pressing VO right to move through. I always forget, I never like to do, so VOA will read all from your current cursor position to the end of something. And I never like to do that because I just don't like to sit there and listen to it. I like to be pressing my VO right or down arrow or whatever. But yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I think was that all? You just wanted to know if
how you
it would
control
stop?
your reader. So
Okay.
you just stop your reader by using control, or you just VO right and make it stop?
So I VO right from thing to thing, and then if I still want to interrupt it even mid-sentence, I do control. Because it doesn't start reading. The reader is more like a view. It's not a separate speech that comes on and starts reading.
Okay, so it's like, so if you're on a Google page, if you use the reader, then it'll almost act like it's in Safari, is what you're saying.
Well, you are in Safari, like I was in Safari.
Oh, okay.
I was in Safari, and I went to that page. I did Command L. I went to that page, and then I found a link of something that I wanted to read, and I activated it, and then I turned on the reader.
Oh, okay. Thanks. One thing that I found that's really neat about Safari, if you turn your voiceover off, you can ask Siri to read this page to me, and it'll read it. But you don't have control of starting and stopping it.
Right.
Just reads.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. That's really
welcome.
helpful. I didn't know about that option.
You're welcome.
I also have a question. This is Elaine again. And because I've been using Windows for 100 years, when Jaws is talking and you've heard enough of what he has to say, you just hit the control key and it'll stop. How in the world do I do that on the Mac?
Did Chanelle get muted?
Oh, I did. Okay. So yeah, I know I've used and then still use Windows. I've used it forever too, but you can press the control key as well on the Mac. And the control is kind of more like a pause. So if you press it again, it'll continue reading. But yes, if you just press the control key once, then it should at least pause. All right. Who else would like to ask a question?
This is
Say
Karen.
that it does work if you use the right key. I was using the very far left key on the keyboard, which is not the control on the Apple keyboard.
Ah, you probably have the keyboard that with the 4 keys to the left of your spacebar, correct?
I do, yes.
Then the far left one is FN, and the one to the right of that is Control.
Yes, I just figured that out. Once you told me it was the same thing, I said, well, let me see if I can get it to do it. And then I
Okay.
get the far left one, and of course that didn't work. And I thought, oh yeah, it's the one inside that one.
All right. Okay, go ahead, Karen.
Okay, so this question, I don't know if it's appropriate for here or not, but I run into issues on the Mac, and we talked about Pages a little while ago, and I'm trying to learn some things about Pages. A friend was telling me that when she gets in trouble with the computer, she uses Be My Eyes AI to take a picture of the screen, and it gives her instruction about how she can accomplish what she's shooting for. So, what are your thoughts about attempting to do something like that on the Mac?
All right. Well, let's open it up. Has anyone thought about trying to use a service like that? I don't believe that Be My AI exists for the Mac, but
No, but you could take the picture with the phone, right, and ask it questions.
that's
Correct?
true. You could, yes.
Yep, this is Herbie.
Go ahead, Herbie.
So you're wanting to use like Be My AI on the Mac then?
Well, I want to take a photo of the task at hand on the Mac and get help with like I'm trying to make the booklet with the table of contents that has the in-page links, for example, and I'm running into some issues with that. And so she's getting help with Microsoft products, and she can ask the AI, what to do, and it's been giving some pretty good results. So I was just wondering if anyone had tried that with the Mac or.
Well, I mean, so like, okay, so are you wanting to show it things, or are you just wanting to ask it questions?
Well, she's showing it so that it can see where she is in the process of what she's trying to
So
do.
have you tried
Yeah.
using Microsoft on the Mac for that purpose?
No, I don't even have Microsoft on the Mac yet. I've been using Pages for this
Right.
project at the moment. So, yeah.
So you're wanting to upload it pictures and then ask it questions about what you're doing?
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, I think she wanted to point the phone at her Mac and then, have the phone and then
Well, then why
have
not
it
just use Be My
describe it.
AI on the phone then?
Well, that's what she would do. Point.
Oh, well, then you would just point the phone at the Mac screen. I would set the brightness at a good level and make sure your screen curtain is off. And the one thing I would do that can help when doing that type of thing is bring all to front. So in the menu bar, it hides other windows basically. You know which option I'm talking about, Chanel? Like when you go in the menu bar.
Yeah, when you go into the menu bar and there's something in the
It's in the Apple menu, or
no, it's
right
in the
next.
text. It's in the menu of the app you're
Yes,
using.
but what that does
Hide
is
others.
hide others, so that way it's just that particular thing that's in focus. And that when I've tried scanning my Mac screen in the past for like QR codes or whatever, that does seem to help. So that's one recommendation I have, is to hide all others when doing something like that.
Okay. All right. So, I guess I just need to try it then because, like I said, I also could call tech support. So,
But the other option you
yeah.
would have too, if you want to work with people,
Mm-hmm.
is I know Ira can do through the team viewer and stuff. I know they can also do screen share directly on the Mac. So
Actually, they're starting to use what's that one now? They're not using TeamViewer anymore. They're using the one that.
This is John.
Yes, John.
Yes, they're using Remote Incident Manager.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But my point is, it can screen share directly on the Mac, so that would be a way of them. They'd have the picture, they could upload it to the. It'd be another way of getting, working with people and AI without having to point the camera at the phone. I don't know if their built-in AI can do that type of thing or not, but that's just an alternative I can think of if you have problems.
Okay, so that RIM that I know works on the PC, that also there's a version for that for the Mac as well.
Yes.
Okay.
You do have to go through a couple of hoops. It's not as easy to install as it is on the PC. You do have to give it a bunch of permissions, but otherwise it works very well for the most part. Mac to PC could be better, but it's much better than nothing. I'll tell you that much. So.
Okay, I haven't used it yet, but I will just try this then. Thank you for the suggestion. I will look for that hide others.
Yep, it's in the menu bar.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and it might be able to tell you. I don't know. What's often more helpful is if you would put into something like Chat GPT or whatever your favorite AI's, whatever thingy is, how to do blah, blah, blah using voiceover. That might get you more helpful results. Or I suppose I haven't done a whole lot with Be My AI. I suppose if it gives you some direction, then you can ask it a question and say, how do I do this with voiceover? So, yeah, there's lots of ways to do things.
Yeah, we've got
And
more
this is
options
Herbie.
than we ever have before, so that's what's cool.
Okay.
This is Herbie.
Yes, Herbie.
Just something else, me personally, I have to admit, if I was doing what you were doing, I would probably consider if I could fork it out or find somebody that has oodles of money, the Meta AI glasses, because I think that would be easier to not only point at the screen, but you can ask it directly what it's seeing and things like that. So I would probably consider that as an option too.
Okay, thank you.
And Chanelle, as a user of the glasses, can say if she agrees with me or not. But
I think they're still trying to be, I don't think they're the end all and be all, that people, but I knew that going in. And they
right.
wouldn't connect to the Mac specifically. They only connect to your iPhone. But yes, you could point them at your Mac, definitely. I tried to point the glasses at my phone and I was trying to, just say, tell me what's on my screen. And I tried to say, look and tell me what's in the bottom right corner, or look and tell me. It would not read the last item in the dock. But anyway, that's only relevant to iPhone. But yeah, there's just lots of things out there. Was there anything in particular that you mentioned trying to do something in Pages on your
Yes.
Mac?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, I'm trying to make a booklet with in-page links from the table of contents for sections and subsections. And I was able to generate a table of contents, but I'm having trouble navigating it. And it doesn't seem to, it's like a text box and it doesn't seem to have the links. So I'm missing a step somewhere in the process. So.
Yeah, so what I do when I'm creating links, just in general, is I will select the line with shift down arrow or select part of the words with option shift right arrow. And then I know in many applications Command K will bring up a dialog for creating a link. And then I think there should be, but I know what you mean, how when you have headings in a document, the document should just automatically be able to create the links based on those headings. It's been a while since I've done anything like that, and I never did on the Mac, but I would just make sure your document is well formatted with all the headings that, that each section is a heading, and one, that'll make it more accessible, and two, that'll probably make it easier for those links to be created.
Right. And that's what I'm attempting to do, but so far haven't gotten quite there yet. But thank you for all these tips. I
And that's
appreciate
a
it.
lot to, It's a lot to take on, so good job.
I know I'm brand new at this, right?
Right.
I've only had mine for a couple of months, and I'm really looking forward to the course. So thank you.
Yeah, we probably won't get into anything that advanced, but we'll cover some of the basics that maybe you might have missed or not considered or something, and then hopefully that'll eventually help you.
I still have a lot to learn. No worries
All
about
right.
that. Thank you.
All right. Yep.
Hi, it's Robert here.
Yeah.
If
Hi,
I'm
Robert.
available. Hi.
Okay.
So, as far as a learning tool goes, what I found to be extremely helpful is that Alexa has a Chat GPT robot, and if you go to Alexa, you can enable it on your iPhone, and you can ask that Chat GPT robot a lot of questions, and it gives some very clear and specific answers as to how to perform. And it seems to know Apple, commands very well. So that's just another option for anybody.
All right. That is an excellent option. Thank you.
But it's certainly helped me quite a bit, just with some of the basics, which is the level I'm at now.
So is that in your Alexa? This is Charlene. Sorry. Is that in your Alexa app on your phone? Is that how you're accessing that Chat GPT?
Actually, I do have an Alexa device. I haven't, and it's there. I'm pretty sure it would be on the phone as well. So just if you say Alexa, open Chat GPT, and that should do it. You may have to download it. I'm not sure how I originally installed it, but once it's there, and I think I'm not sure where I got the app. I do this stuff and I don't remember what I've done. But anyway, the Chat GPT, if you have an Alexa device, or I don't see why you couldn't do it, from the iPhone by opening Alexa, asking Siri to open Alexa, and then it should be there.
Yeah,
Okay,
so opening the Alexa app with Siri, and then that makes sense.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
And this is Herbie.
Yes, Herbie.
Just one other thing I'll mention too is, and we don't know how it's going to work yet, but first of all, what model Mac do you have?
Who?
The person asking the question a minute ago about the
Oh, Karen?
Karen, yeah.
I have the MacBook Air M3.
Okay, perfect. So, Apple is going to be coming up with new Siri AI and stuff like that, and I wonder once that actually comes out, which won't be for a while yet, so you'll still have to do other methods, but that if that'll prove to be helpful in situations like yours or not, with some built-in stuff. So we'll see how that evolves.
Awesome.
All right, who has another question?
Well, this is Herbie.
Yep.
Since we have some of the class here, can I start asking them review questions?
Uh-oh.
Just some minor stuff, like how do you access mail attachments, or...
We don't want to scare them away.
Oh. Okay, sorry, guys. I was trying, but...
Let them at least come to the first day of class before you freak them out.
Yeah, there we go. Now you can ask your real questions. Brad's here. No.
No, see, one of the things the class will learn real quick is, Chanelle's actually the good guy, I'm the bad guy, so...
Yeah, get used to that. And I'm the really bad guy.
Well, we've been warned now.
Yep. I had a situation once where I had two people from two different classes once, and I started to ask them review questions and on a community call, and then they started panicking for some reason. I don't know why. It wasn't anything major, just how to reinstall VoiceOver if it crashes. Oh, wait a minute. You can't
that's
reinstall
something everyone
VoiceOver
should know.
crashes.
How to reinstall VoiceOver.
Yeah.
I've had to do that a few times.
Yep.
This is Gail at GG.
Hi, Gail.
I have a
go ahead.
question. Okay. I know the mail is something that I think is easier to do on the Mac.
Oh, yeah.
And so my question is, what other things do you think are easier to do on the Mac than the phone?
Okay.
This is Herbie.
Go ahead, Herbie.
That is such a loaded question, and some of it's going to boil down to opinion. Overall, I think surfing the web is easier on the Mac. It can feel more flexible on the phone, like on the Windows, because you do get to just arrow up and down and the way JAWS responds. But I think
she was asking about the phone.
No, I'm saying what is easier on the Mac than the phone?
It's a matter of opinion, I think.
Oh, I know it's a matter. I know it's a matter
Even
of
mail.
opinion.
Well, I know, but even mail. It depends on what I'm going to do in mail. I can go through mail on my phone. I mean, the Mac is nice and simple, but if I'm going to write mail, I want to do it on the Mac. But just to go through my mail, review my mail, read it real quick, maybe respond to a quick response, I can do that on the phone. Okay. Is it easier? It's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of another. It depends on what
Messages,
I'm actually
I think,
doing.
is definitely easier on the phone.
What would you say is easier on the phone?
Messages, text messaging.
Text messages, I much prefer it on the iPhone than on the
Mac, hands down, easier.
Yeah.
See, we all have matters of opinion.
Yeah,
you
I
say
know,
Mac,
exactly.
I say Mac, hands down, easier.
The phone actually, it's actually the same amount of
conversations and messages, conversations.
Yeah.
It's actually really the same amount on both. It's just that the phone displays it differently because you have a back button, and so it's on one screen. You have the list of conversations, but like on the Mac, you would interact to see the conversation, and with the phone, you open the conversation, and that is what I would say is the big difference. But once you get in the message, it's still the same clutter.
Less layered and less complicated. I think once you get the hang of it,
with the Mac,
easy on
you get the full flexibility of like your actual keyboard, and so like for me, I really enjoyed the fact when I was writing papers, for instance, I didn't have to go switching devices.
I'm a
it's also a
dictation
whole
guy,
lot.
so
It's also a whole lot easier to send and receive attachments on messages using the Mac compared to the phone. Because you can just literally copy and paste like your attachment into the message, same as you can with email. So attachments, I think, are definitely easier.
Definitely.
And likewise, when you receive attachment, you have to use the VO Actions menu, and that is a little bit annoying that you sometimes can't do a direct copy and paste, but you can still find your copy menu in there.
The Actions menu is not that bad, but yeah.
If I wanted to,
one of those. There's pluses
and deleting is definitely easier in the Mac because you just do command. Oh, go on.
Well, okay. If I want to delete like several threads, I find it's a lot easier on the phone because I can just, go to the more button, go to select conversations, and then that part is easier on the phone.
Hit delete on the conversation.
Yeah, but I might as well be doing that on my computer. If I want to delete a bunch at once, I'm talking about.
Right.
Otherwise, on the Mac, you can't select multiple conversations. So
third-party
like
apps
you do on the
really
phone,
right? Yeah.
But you need to. You just go to one and just delete it, though, don't you?
Yeah, but if I want to select multiple conversations. If I have, let's say, a thread with you, a thread with Pete, a thread with
okay, multiple.
a
Yeah,
thread
okay, got it.
with this other whatever. It's like I want to just delete. I'm done with these conversations. Bye.
Another thing I would say that makes messages easier on the Mac, though, is pinned conversations, like the fact that you can do
command.
Okay, command 1 through 9 to get to pinned conversations real quick. Also, it's very easy to get two different categories. Like sometimes I have unread messages hiding somewhere, and I like the fact that I can do, Command Control 4 or 5 to get to the unread thread if I want. And you can do that if you enable the filters on the phone, or if you you can still find it on the phone, but you've got some quick key commands on the Mac.
Mail or messages now? You're talking messages. Yeah.
Yep, we've still been in messages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Safari, I definitely think is easier on the Mac than on the phone. It's doable on the phone, and knowing how to do it on the phone helped me how to do it on the Mac that much easier because you still got the rotor and stuff like that. But third-party apps are definitely easier for me on the phone than they are on the Mac. But of course, they're designed for the phone, and that's different.
Oh yeah, but Letterful. If you ever play the game Letterful,
that one I could.
Way easier on the Mac, even if you have to VO, because I use my numpad and I can just do numpad 6, 4, and then I have a special key on my numpad 3 is the equivalent of a 2-finger double tap to submit the thingy. So you can totally customize your keyboard and just go to town in some of these apps.
Like, do you find Dice World easier on the Mac than on the phone?
Did you buy that little?
No, I just use my. No, I still use
You have one. You have one. The full size keyboard. Never mind.
Yeah. No, Herbie, Dice World is easier on the phone. It's kind of cool to play on the Mac sometimes, but it's easier on the phone. But should we see if we have any other questions, or does this bring up for anybody? Do you want to know if we've tried any particular app on the Mac? We have to stick with the Mac, but it is useful to make comparisons.
Well, this is Herbie. I just have one comment, actually, that's related to this. One thing that I do find, that's related to whether you find stuff easier on the phone versus the Mac. One of the beautiful things about the Mac, and this is mostly for the benefit of the new people, is we have a feature called Handoff.
Yes.
And that lets us share things between devices. So, for instance, I might find I want to write a long message in WhatsApp, and you can use note text edit on my Mac to write out the message, then go into WhatsApp on my phone, and from the computer, copy the message.
There is a WhatsApp app for the Mac.
There is, and it's usable.
He's talking about Universal Clipboard.
Yes.
Universal Clipboard. There's also a situation where I needed to test out an app once in Safari, and what I did is I found the exact page I wanted using the Mac because I found that easier, and then in the phone in Safari there's a tab called Handoff, and I could switch that page from the Mac to the phone. And
wasn't it called iCloud Tabs or?
It's an iCloud Tabs. And
is it in the Safari app?
Yes.
What is that? I've not used that. I've used Handoff, or I can just hand off that,
It's not. It used to be a little bit easier, and they've kind of buried it now. But if you have a page open in Safari on the Mac, if you go to your tabs on the phone, you'll see an iCloud sharing, on my Mac tab or something that.
Do you do a double tap and hold on the tab button on the phone to open that context menu?
I don't remember if I had to do that or not. I think it was
shortcut menu.
Shortcut menu. I'll have to look exactly how I did it because it's something I don't do often, and they've changed it with the different updates because it used to be a little bit easier.
You probably do it with Handoff by.
Yeah.
You got Safari open. You just open the app switcher, and it shows at the bottom, and you tap on it, and it'll open.
That would be easier.
Yes,
that's what I've always done.
I used to be able to get that to work. I've had issues, like I said, with the latest
It hasn't
But
worked so well
But my
lately. I
point
can
is
go,
that you
yeah,
can share information between two devices. So if you're
very
finding
easily.
a task harder on one device, you can try it on the other, and that's the point I was
and
trying to make.
I want to bring it back, but I also want to say the demo I was doing for Reader on in Mac Safari, you also have a Reader view in Safari on iOS, and with that, because I was doing a demo for them using the 9 to 5 Mac site, found an article and turned on Reader. Because Herbie's recipe call made me remember, oh yeah, we can use Reader to strip out a lot of stuff. But anyway, who does anyone have a question before we Mac old timers, whatever, get going on and on about things?
We totally go into the
And
weeds
hijack
and end
your
up on iOS.
call,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, the weeds. Yeah. Any questions?
So right now, at least the app switcher thing definitely did work, where it showed up in the app switcher. So I'll mention
Yeah,
that.
I've had no problem going from phone to Mac, but to go from Mac to phone has been tricky as of late. Anyway,
This is Karen.
Yeah, go ahead, Karen.
Okay, so can you explain a little bit about the differences between column view and list view, especially in the Finder?
that's the only place it is in Finder.
All right, Brad. Well, you've just elected yourself to explain what the differences are.
Well, I am not a column view user. I am a list user. I find column view confusing. This is another one of those matter of opinion things. I know both Herbie and then eventually Chanelle too have drank the column view Kool-Aid and love it. I like list view. It just shows me the one folder I'm looking at. I get lost in column view is why I don't like it. Maybe I'm not smart enough, I guess. I don't know. But I'm in a item. I can open a folder with I do command down arrow or command O. It's the same thing. To get out of a folder and go to the parent folder, or as the Mac calls it, enclosing folder, the folder that encloses a subfolder. Command up arrow. I have my columns. I can either navigate without voiceover navigation, up down arrow, and it'll read the entire line of folder information, folder name. I mean, file or folder name. If it's a file, it reads our folder. It reads the size. It'll read the date. If it's a file, it reads what it is, a file type. I can also interact, and then I can interact with the folder name and VO right arrow across the line and read that information a little slower and have it written, ripping by. I can sort how I want alphabetically. I can sort by, type. I can put all my, if I'm looking at a folder that's got all kinds of stuff in it, I could put, say, my, I want to say just like pages documents. If I have pages documents, they'll all be grouped together. They'll all be together. I can also use groups if I want to use groups or not. Groups would be if I sorted by alphabetically. Of course, all the A's are together, but they'll have a little heading at the top. A's, and then you get to the B's. There's a little heading or banner that tells you I've moved to the next letter. If I sort by date, it'll be today, yesterday, last week, something like that. Depends on how I sort. Of course, I can always just sort date. Don't use groups, and then they're just sorted either by date, either ascending or descending. I don't know.
I
Maybe
never
Herbie.
understood what groups, how that worked. So groups just give it a
Groups.
little header thingy for
It's like
each.
it puts like a little divider. So if
Okay.
I'm alphabet simple. If all the A things that start with A, and there'll be like a little gap with a little banner that says A. Or if I'm sorting by date, like I said, it would say today, yesterday, last week, long
Oh, I
time
should give
ago.
that
I
a
don't know.
try. All right.
Now I do that in my downloads folder by default. It's set to show most recently added on top. So I guess that's descending so that the newest is on top and oldest is at the bottom. And you can turn on groups and it would say like, today, yesterday, things like that. I can't remember what they are. They're kind of specific for the first days or two, then all of a sudden it's last week, and then all of a sudden it's last month, and then it says something like, I can't remember what it says, but it's like a long time ago or older,
Oh, that
something
Greater
like
makes
than
that.
30
sense.
And I
days.
Kind
usually
of how
turn those
Zoom
headings.
meetings are structured in the,
Yes,
yeah.
those are like, I usually
Yeah.
turn those off. I don't need it. I do like having the fact that downloads are on top. I have another folder that I use. There's a certain folder with movies in it, and I can never remember what the movie for this week is. So I go to this folder and I sort it by, you know, by date added, and that new movie shows up at the top of the list because I'm
Oh,
like, I have
nice.
some timers, and sometimes I can't remember what happened yesterday, and so that helps me find that movie. And then when I'm done, I could leave it that way, I suppose, but for whatever reason, I just do the command and put it back to sorting alphabetically.
Now, with those sort things, you have to press the pass through because it's like VO Command 5 or VO Command.
And there's not a VO in it,
Oh,
actually,
it's not?
but it
Okay.
is no, and I can't remember. I always have to go and look. I want to say it's Control Command.
Oh, that must be
I
it.
think
Okay.
that's it, or is it Control Option? I think it's Control Command. Um, and not all of the sorts have a hotkey. Some of them do, don't. Name is like I think it's Control Command 1. I know that date added is Control Command 4. That's the only two I use. But for some reason, I can never remember what the exact hotkey is. I have to go look at it. But I know you can change your view from icon view, list view, column view, uh, gallery view. Is that what they call that fourth one
Yeah, I
now?
don't think that
Yeah.
one
Used to
is really
be
useful to
cover
us.
flow. I've never used it. It is like
Totally
it's like a
visual.
combination of list
Yeah.
view and a preview. If what you have is pick photos, graphics, something of that nature, and the top of the window will be a list view, and if you're on something and it is say a JPEG, a picture, from your camera or whatever, the bottom is going to show you the photo without you having to open it. Um, it's just, I'm sure that's very beneficial to people who have sight. Even with my very little sight, I find it doesn't help me at all. And I've never used it. They've had it forever, but they've called it different names. Now they're calling it gallery view. They believe they used to call it cover flow. And maybe there was another name for it at one point. I can't remember. I started using the Mac about 10 years ago, Mac OS 10.8 Mountain Lion. It's always been there. It's always pretty much, they haven't changed it much, maybe a little bit. I never used it though because it doesn't help me.
So I
I don't
just
know. Maybe
looked.
you guys could talk about column view and what you like about column view.
Yeah. So, first of all, I have done sorting in column view, and I was just looking at least on mine, it's showing the commands are for sort, like, or Command Option Control 1, Command Option Control 2. I don't know.
That's it. Command Option. Okay, maybe that's it.
And
For
Control
sorting or for
sorting.
okay.
So it seems like it's never
So this
worked.
is Herbie.
What? Go
Command
ahead.
Option Control.
So
Yeah, three of them.
column
That's it.
view is a much simpler way of looking at things. There are a couple things you need to disable so you don't get lost, because by default it's going to show you all the surrounding folders, but you can get rid of a lot of that so that way you won't get lost. So what you do is instead of doing Command O or Command down there to open a file, you simply right arrow to expand something. And one of the things I like about that method is it just works faster. It's a quicker way to open folders. And you just right arrow to expand the folder you want. You left arrow to close the folder. When you want to copy something, you just have to point to the folder. You don't actually have to open it. And
when you right arrow to expand, don't you then move? Your focus moves to the right to another column, correct?
When you expand it, your focus moves to the folder that you just expanded, and you can down arrow through the list.
Doesn't it move like in a column to the right when you expand?
Visually, I think it does.
In
yes.
List view, if I go to a folder, I can right arrow and it will expand the folder, and now its contents are between the name of the folder and whatever is below it in the
But
list.
then it stays expanded if you forget
until you left arrow and close it. And if you're in the middle of the folder and you do a left arrow, it moves your focus to the folder name, and then you left arrow again to actually collapse it.
Right.
So you can do that in list view. I don't.
Yeah.
I prefer to open it, and then I'm just looking at the contents.
If you turn off the preview column or what in column view, then right arrow is the same as essentially opening the folder, in its own. It is essentially like command down arrow.
Because you expanded it.
Yeah.
Moving to the next column.
Right.
See, I guess the difference is neither one of you could see it.
No.
I can see it a little bit, and that's why I find it very confusing, because it actually, when you do the right arrow, you move to a column, and there'll be like 3 columns in the folder list view area.
Your eyes are holding you back.
Yeah, but we turn off the preview.
Exactly. It's just confusing.
We turn off the preview column, and so I don't think there's as many columns.
I have to see what a preview column is. I don't know.
Or whatever it's called.
Yeah, the preview. So it's in the.
I'll have to play with it. But to me, list view is like detail view in Windows. And that's what I was just.
Yeah, because in list view, you can choose all
DOS or Unix.
Yeah. List view, you can choose whether you want something shown, like the date, the size, the things shown in that list.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah,
all the info on the
column view, not
the details. Which is why Windows calls it detail view.
Right. I think there is a separate list view and a separate detail view in Windows, though.
There is, and list just shows. A little tiny icon in the name of the file, and a list view, it will show it, and it actually has multiple columns, and you go down because it's short, so you go down vertically down, and then when you get to the bottom of a column, it moves you to the top of the column immediately to the right, so on and so forth. But they're listed alphabetically if that's what you've chosen, or whatever. And the difference in that and what Windows calls small icons, look to a sighted user, they look the same, except they're in an array, and they go ABC goes from left to right instead of vertically down a column. And when you get all the way to the right, if you hit a right arrow, it doesn't go anywhere. You have to backtrack all the way to the left, and then, or go down arrow and hit home, and it'll move you to the far left of that row. And then, so it's an array as opposed to column, but they look essentially the same. There's a little icon, like if it's a Word file, it's got a little Microsoft Word icon, and then the name of the file, and so on, and no details given. So.
All right. Well, now everyone, somebody yawning after that exhaustive
Exactly.
discussion of list and column view. Thank you for the
Opinion
question,
page.
Karen. Yeah.
Can I ask a quick follow up to it
Sure,
then?
go ahead.
Okay, since Brad's mentioned the downloads folder, it reminded me that I would like to delete some things, but I don't want to cause any trouble. So I figured I needed to, more training on what I can and cannot delete. So, like, once a program has installed, is it safe to remove from the downloads area, like Zoom, for example?
Yes.
And how
Yeah,
do
you don't
how
need
do
to.
you accomplish that the easiest way?
Command delete. The delete key is what people think of as the backspace key. If you're using a MacBook Pro Air, something like that, it's the upper right below the Touch ID sensor is your delete key. Command delete will delete a file and it sends it to the trash folder so you can actually get it back. And things will stay there until you empty the trash.
Okay, but it's safe to clean up things that you've downloaded
Yeah.
and installed and okay.
Oh, yeah. If
Great.
you've installed it,
Thank you.
or I tend to, if it's something that I might want again, I have a in mine's in iCloud Drive, but you could have it anywhere, and I move the installer to there in case I want it. I don't have to go download it again if for some reason I need it. Although
But
I
would
will say, if you have downloaded something like Google Chrome, for example, if you let that thing sit around after a while, you try to use it again, it'll tell you it's not valid. You need to go
latest
download the new
version?
version. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because it's out of date.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, Herbie and I have a setup files folder, and it's amazing how much stuff can collect in there, and it's
Uh-huh.
good to clean out once in a while.
Yeah, I have this. I call mine application download or something. I can't
Oh,
remember
there
what I
you
call
go.
it. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then there's a folder for Windows stuff and a folder for even though it's in iCloud Drive. That's
I'm not that organized. I know I just have one big Dropbox setup files, and yeah, there's a ton of stuff in there.
Well, the Finder app is very complex. I found it difficult at first. I'm getting used to it, but
It'll get easier, especially once.
Finder is your user interface with the operating system. Finder is the graphical user interface for the operating system, as opposed to terminal is a command line interface for the operating system. It's the same thing as in Windows, what they used to call Windows Explorer, they now call File Explorer. It's the same thing. It is the graphical user interface for the operating system. That's how you, the user, interface. Once upon a time, everything was command line. You typed commands. Very cryptic. Then Apple actually no, actually Apple didn't. Somebody else did. I've been corrected it, but Microsoft pretty much copied Apple when they did Windows because when did the Mac come out? 83, and Binder was in the very first Mac.
all right. Well,
All
thank
right.
you.
This is Judy.
Yes, Judy.
Hi, you guys. I got in late
Hi.
today. Hi.
We're glad you're
Um,
here.
oh, glad to be here. You know, I've got a question, and I can't remember if it's the launch pad or the mission control. One of them I always hit by accident, and all of a sudden it goes whoosh, and then I get
It's
really
mission
mad, and I have to hit the escape
It's
button,
a
and it
mission
goes
control.
mission
mission
control.
control.
I remembered hearing somebody a few years ago that said they were able to delete that. And they said it was complicated. But do you guys know how to do that? I mean,
You
you
can.
can't just delete it like you can an app that you bought.
And this is Brad. I think you're better off to turn off that key. If you go into System Settings,
Yeah.
Keyboard, there's a button down towards the bottom of that area that says Shortcuts. And it opens up another window. And on the left hand side is a bunch of categories. Then there's a vertical splitter. And then there's items for within that category. And one of the categories you will find, I believe, is Mission Control. and there's mission control and there's app expose. And according to my son, who's been using it for a long time, he says they're pretty much the same thing. It just allows a mouse user to quickly do what we do with the keyboard command, like VOF1 or VOF2.
Except you toggle it like Judy. I used to press Control down arrow and I'd go because it would toggle and drive me nuts.
So you can go into this shortcuts app, select mission control, and you can go in and uncheck the boxes for these keyboard commands and turn them off, and they will not do stuff anymore.
Oh.
Yep.
And that
so
way
if
you
you go
don't
to
have to get rid of it, because I think mission control is it's one of the part of the operating system, and even though it shows up in your applications folder or under utility, I think it's in applications. It's there, but I don't think it's easily deleted, and I think you're better off leaving it where it is, unless it unintended consequences messes something up you don't even know about. And I would just I've gone through on mine and turned as much of that off. There's also, if you go to trackpad, in system settings, there are some trackpad gestures for mission control, and you can turn those off too.
Oh, okay. Wow, thank you. Because that it bugs me because then it always messes up what I'm doing too.
Yep. You'll find I'm just looking at mission control now because I've been there. You'll find a lot of it there, and there's probably, like Brad said, other places you can look. So
I think all you need to do is press your escape key and it returns back to you.
It does, but it makes me mad.
It's annoying. I know. It always made me mad too.
I know, because I never use it. I have played with it back when I first got a Mac. You can navigate it. You can interact with it, but it's like, why would I want to do this? A sighted user is going to hit a key, open it, and they're going to see a little thumbnail of, it shows all the windows within your like application. Like if you've got Pages and you got 3 Pages documents open, it's going to have a little thumbnail of each document. So you hit the key, you open it up, your mouse clicks on it, and now you're there. We would just Command Tab would switch me to Pages, and then Command Accent would switch windows within the app.
Yep.
And I would do that, and it's much more efficient.
It is. It's one of the first things they'll learn in the class. Yeah.
Yep. Or VOF1 will tell you your current application. And VOF1 a second time brings up a list of applications.
Yeah.
And some things are going to show up there that don't show up when you do a Command Tab. But you'll choose a application, like maybe Safari, and you've got several Safari windows open, and perhaps each Safari window has a bunch of different tabs too. That's another story for when Chanelle gets to the Safari lesson. But you can then choose the Safari window, and I tend to have multiple windows open all the time with different things segregated into separate windows. And I started a search, did a Google search, and then I went through my search, and then I told it, let's open this in a new tab, and I'm shopping or something, then I leave it there and I come back to it later, and oftentimes I just never come back to it. But one day I go through it, I don't need this anymore, and close it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, you guys.
You're welcome.
Hi, Robert here again.
Yes, Robert.
What about, I know it's my beginning, but do you use voice control to issue commands? Is that something that we'll be covering? Is that a handy and easy feature to use?
I used to talk about it a little bit, but it is not, it's great for people who are not able to use the keyboard or the mouse. As voiceover users, we can use it in a limited way. But it's so much talking because you have to basically say voiceover, move left, voiceover, whatever. You have to precede a lot of commands.
With
voiceover.
You have, what would you call it? What's the word when your hands don't work right? I'm trying to think.
I don't know. When
you have dexterity issues,
Yeah.
You have limited
Right.
use of your hands and arms and things, you can control your Mac
Mhm.
that way. But if you
Okay.
have hands, there's a much more efficient way of doing things.
Okay, great. One other thing I noticed when I was looking here, I came to a section somewhere in the IO groups. You could log in, so they wanted your email and create a password to log in. Do you know anything
It's a
about that?
user account. That's a
Yeah,
user
You
account.
don't have to do that.
No.
You've subscribed to our group, and so you're good. You can, I mean, if you want to modify your change your subscription and how you receive emails, that's where you would
okay,
log in. But you don't
okay,
need to worry about it.
okay. Yeah, okay, thanks.
All right, good questions. Anyone else? We have about 5 minutes, so any last minute burning questions?
During the group, are we going to just blurt out the question, or are you going to use the raised hand feature?
So during the class, what'll happen is, yeah, we don't use raised hands in our meetings, and we won't in the class. In the class, I will be giving a talk on a particular topic, whatever that is, and then at the end there will be time for questions.
Okay, great.
Yep.
We would do it the same way we're doing it here, then just hit your space bar or whatever and talk.
Yep.
When you're
That's
giving your talk, will the rest of us be muted?
yes.
Okay, good.
And then
So
yeah.
there
Yep.
won't be any background noise.
There will not.
Perfect. Yeah.
Plan. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And then you'll have a recording to work with after the class.
We'll certainly need that.
Yep. Yeah. Good questions. All right.
See, I learn very easily, but the problem is I forget very easily too.
I do too. You have to. I have to write it down or
Yeah.
practice it or
Memories are
whatever to
fleeting.
remember. Yep.
So I do have another question, and I know this is
Sure.
preference. So,
And this is Elaine, right?
yes, it's Elaine.
Okay, go ahead, Elaine.
My question is, I am a very long time Braille user.
Oh, yay.
Would it be good to have it on the Mac? I use it on my PC, but I haven't connected one to my Mac yet. Is it better to learn it without it first and then incorporate it in later? Or is
So
it
what I'm going to recommend is Braille. I love the fact that you don't have to mess with installing drivers. You can just plug in the Braille display via USB. You can do it Bluetooth too, but USB, if you plug it in and you put the display in its terminal mode, you'll get Braille right away. But it is not as robust in terms of commands as working with JAWS or NVDA on Windows. But if you want to just have my problem is I connect the display to my Mac and I want it to do this, I want it to do that, I want it, even on Windows, it's like, I think with the Mac, you're better off if you want to connect it, just using it to read along as you do things. So just have it there, but then maybe wait a little while before you try doing stuff with it. You can create your own commands in the VoiceOver utility, and I'll try to point that out when we go there. So you can create your own commands to use with your display. But yeah, just use it as a reading device for now. Kind of, you can have it connected, but try not to do a whole lot with it.
Okay, thanks. I think what I'll probably do then is just try to rely on just voiceover for now, since that's kind of the basis of the class, because if you don't get in the habit of listening to voiceover, which is going to be some, new voiceover users, that are able to see and or have been able to see, and now are going to have to learn it with voiceover. It's just a matter of getting used to listening. Now I do it on my phone all the time because I don't have a braille display, but I think I'll just stick with that for right now. And then, like you said, once I know what I'm doing a little bit, maybe I'll be able to adjust a braille display.
Yeah. All right. I always liked, I mean, even if I don't directly use the braille on the Mac, if I'm taking a class, I might want to write my notes in braille. I mean, it might be on the note or this whatever app that the display has itself, or but that way I'm at least kind of using braille to help my learning, even if it's not on the device that I might be learning about.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yep. Excellent. All right, so just a quick reminder, this week we have coming up our It's iBug's Life from 7 to 9, all about financial investing. The movie on Friday, which I believe now I have straight in my head, Eye in the Sky or Eye on the Sky, I guess I don't.
Eye in the Sky.
Eye in the Sky. Okay, so come at 7:15 for a pre-movie social on Friday, followed by the movie at 8. And I believe our Apple workshop is canceled, so we can enjoy seeing you back on Monday for iBug Buzz.
And there's iBug Unplugged on Saturday
Oh,
night.
okay.
No, that's next week. Never mind.
Oh, next week. Okay, well,
Sorry.
Stay tuned for the announcements.
All
class
excited for it.
Students, you will be getting all these announcements as part of the class on our list, but awesome. That sounds great. Well, thanks everyone for being here. Enjoyed your questions and participation, and look forward to seeing some of you in a couple weeks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.